Hello and welcome to the NUFC360 weekly podcast. This week we have Mark, Tom, Jack, and myself with a couple of topics to cover. How are we all doing, gents? We all good this lovely Wednesday evening?
Yes. Yeah.
We're all good.
Excellent.
Trying to forget about Sunday's result, but
yeah, we'll not cover that one today. I don't think. I think we'll leave that for this week. Yeah, probably more sensible. If you don't already, make sure you follow NUFC360 on Twitter, on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, share. As you well know, we'll be getting comments up through the show if you are commenting, so please do feel free to. But we'll jump straight in. And if you've seen our tweets earlier, you will see what we're kind of going to talk about today. Three main topics. The first one being captain for next season. Obviously, Jamal Lascelles is club captain at the moment. Obviously, we've had the addition of Kieran Trippier and a few other senior folks in the squad. But who should be the captain for next season, given Lascelles' potential lack of game time? And well, he may not even be in the squad. He may not be in Newcastle anymore. So what are we thinking, guys? Like, who should be captain next season?
I'll start, Mr. Trippier. It's got to be Trippier, right?
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Trippier. He's got that experience. He's got that big game experience, hasn't he? He's done it at the top level. He's probably the player who is going to be the one speaking to potential signings in the summer. But I wouldn't be surprised if club captain was actually John Shelvey, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think Lascelles will either step down as captain and stay as fourth choice, maybe, or he will probably be moved on. If it's to be believed, we're going to have to sell not sell to buy, but sell to boost the budget. And I could see Lascelles being someone that we could get an okay amount of money from maybe a top-end Championship team or lower-end Premier League team. He's a player who I've liked for a long time. I think he's been a loyal servant to Newcastle, but I'm not sure if he's at the level required anymore. I think, unfortunately, he's gone backwards. Well backwards over the last couple of years. So I can't see him either being captain or even being at the club. We don't know. And then I think, Trippier is a good shot, but I actually think it'd be Shelvey because he's been captain for most of the season. Obviously, when Lascelles hasn't been playing, Shelvey will probably definitely be at the squad, definitely be in the team next season. He might not be first choice midfielder anymore, but he knows Newcastle. He's been here for over 6 years now. Always talks about the club in a good way. Has been an example of a player who's improved so much under Eddie Howe. I think he'd be a really good. I think he'd be a good club captain. At the end of the day, these days, how much does who the captain matters really? Anyone can talk. It's not the captain doesn't have to speak, just the captain. So Trippier will probably be an on-field leader, obviously. So will the likes of Callum Wilson and stuff as well. But yeah, for captain, I think Shelvey. Yeah.
What do you think? Lascelles will still be here next season? Do you think we'll be still here? Do you want him still to be here? Would he be like, third choice, fourth choice?
At the moment, I feel like at the moment we'd still need him. If it depends what happens in the summer, really. If new defenders come in, then some of the people that are in our starting lineup at the minute might be the ones that get relegated to where Lascelles are.
So realistically, we're going to be getting rid of Kieran Clark. Fernandez is probably going to go. So you're losing two defenders there. That only leaves you with, in reality, Shaw, Byrne, and Lascelles. Because Paul Dummett, for me, he's not the left back, and he's certainly not a centre back that can play in the back two, in my mind. So you're sort of like stuck with those three. I still think we're probably going to need one more defender. So I think Lascelles may end up staying unless there's a good enough bid comes in. And if that's the case, then we'll probably then end up putting ourselves in a position where we could then go and get another one.
Yeah.
I can sort of see. I don't know whether or not we might do what you've seen other clubs do, where you'll have a club captain, but then a team captain. So you've got like a club captain who's sort of like not the one that wears the armband, but he's the one that's sort of like the senior in terms of that. But then you have someone else who's the captain of the team and captains them on a match day.
So like Fernandinho at Manchester City, he's the club captain, but he barely plays. So Ilkay Gundogan or Ruben Diaz.
Yeah.
Is
So you might
usually
still see
usually
someone
the
like
captain.
Lascelles stay, if he does stay, be the club captain, but then someone. Yeah, I don't know whether or not does Shelby really want to be captain. Does he? Yeah. Does he want that pressure? Yeah, on there. I think Trippier's the sort of player who would probably thrive on it. And
Yeah.
and
You
that
can
sort
just
of thing.
imagine him commanding the team, you feel.
There's another thing for me though, and I know it's but imagine Dan Burn, a local lad, a home lad, commanding the defence, but also leading the team. So there's that. But you've also got to remember, I think, was it not actually against Norwich where Callum Wilson captained?
Yeah, he's been
Callum
captain.
Wilson
a couple of
didn't
times.
Yeah, I
play
was
again.
going to mention Callum Wilson.
And against Norwich at home. Yes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one. Like Shelby, I don't know why. I just don't like when it comes across in interviews, and it obviously maybe totally different on the pitch and maybe totally different in training because we don't see that side of things. But he hasn't got a huge personality, which I think from a captain's point of view, you tend to need. You need a big personality.
But you might see that personality on the training ground and in the the changing room. So that might be a case where that's the persona that he has with there, but he's quite a private person away from that, which some players are. You would have had that. Yeah, you'll have those like Bruno or Julian who or ESM for that matter, who just put everything on social media, and then you'll have those that aren't really active yet. Matt Ritchie's probably one of those.
Not even sure Shelby has social media, to be fair.
No, I don't think he does. I think he even said that in an interview that he doesn't. But like Matt Ritchie, he doesn't. Yeah, in that sense, yeah. Carl Dole's not really that active as such. Yeah, Dubravka's not really that active. So there's some players that aren't really active on social media. Obviously, Lascelles did have social
they're
media.
only active maybe one tweet after a match day every 3 months or something. You know, even like Joe Willock and that aren't really that active.
But I think that's probably the choice of Joe Willock to make sure that he is focusing on his game in that, because I think that's why he said I decided not to live in the city centre because of the distractions. Yeah. So even there, you're looking at someone who's quite a young lad, but quite a mature head on him, and going, I decided not to go where the distractions are going to be. But it's one of those things, because you're going to have leaders in the dressing room that aren't captain, but they are still going to be that driving force. Joe Linton's one.
Yeah.
He's shouty command.
You'd be terrified to get on the wrong side of him.
Well, you would. Yeah,
he's grown into that. He's grown into that role, hasn't he? This season.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think he's grown into that role.
Exactly, but I think we don't need to give him the pressure of being captain.
No.
But he's got that natural leadership. Yeah, Wilson's got that natural leadership in that sense. I think Fraser probably could for a little bit, because he's probably done that. Yeah, it's difficult, because I think there's quite a few in terms of that who probably can do that. I think Bruno would as well. To that sense, I think he'd be quite vocal in terms of like getting the team to do the right things.
And to me, I mean, it's about standards, isn't it? I think, you can have a captain who's vocal, you can have a captain who is, come on lads, let's get going. But actually, you want people who've played at the highest level. And there's only two people, and Bruno's one of them, and Kieran Trippier is the other one, who actually have played at that top level, who are top players as well, who give you consistent.
Just reading Mamba UK's comment as well. Trippier would be my choice. Clearly leads, inspires his team, experienced, mature, and someone that represents us across the board. Oh, you got it up on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
exactly.
Since this came in,
I also think his attitude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When he got injured,
we. Yeah.
And when he got injured, he was like, "No, I'm still gonna be going there."
He was still at every game, wasn't
he? Team. Yeah, he was like, "There, yeah. Look, I know I'm injured, but I want to be involved. Let us get involved." Mm-hmm. That's the attitude that you want from those sort of players. You don't want a player who, when he gets injured, just goes, "Right, I'm off."
Yeah.
I'll go back to a certain. I don't want to name names, but I'll go back. I'll go back to France.
I knew exactly what was going there.
Different trains of thought there. I actually think Lascelles will go back to Nottingham Forest.
Do you?
That's
Yeah.
What, even if they don't get promoted?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's his level. Top of Championship, bottom of Prem. He's from Nottingham.
I mean, yeah.
It
I
makes
think
sense.
the thing
do a
with
double deal and get Darlow sent back as well.
The thing with the Lascelles is that if, for example, Tarkovsky's available on a free, I would say he's an upgrade on Lascelles. If you get him on a free, then I don't see why there'd be any reason why they wouldn't let Lascelles go.
I don't know whether or not he's any better than Lascelles. Yeah, because looking at quite a few,
You don't know he's better than Lascelles.
I've seen quite a few performances, and there has been times where he has been cheating, he has made mistakes, and that, and you're going, right, Lascelles has got the same in that respect. When you look at it, so is Tarkovsky really an improvement in Lascelles, or are we just
He's
not
an England international.
Ball playing wise, I'd say he was like 100%.
I'd say pretty much in every aspect, Tarkovsky
but in the ball playing
is an improvement on
Shaw.
Lascelles. He wouldn't be a first choice starter necessarily, but if you're looking for, he's on a free. I don't see if it would be a deal that makes sense.
If he was coming in to replace Clark and Fernandez,
that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be like my first choice. It wouldn't be first choice.
That I'd expect. But I would expect if we're going to be replacing Lascelles to maybe go that little bit, go out and purchase a player rather than the person on the free. Go and buy someone, but not to the levels like we were with the Diego Carlos. A little bit. Of the lower down.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. I do think there'll be a big centre back signing, but I can just also see I don't see why you wouldn't get Tarkovsky in as well if you can get him on a free. It just seems to make a lot of sense. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, true. Okay, Brill. We'll move on then to the next subject, and that is exactly how fair is FIFA fair play. So financial fair play, FIFA fair play, financial fair play. So obviously the rule is prior to COVID, it's like you can't make £105 million in losses over a rolling 3-year period, which is obviously was implemented. I think it was in 2014 after the PSG takeover, off the top of my head. Yeah, it is, isn't it? And obviously the teams that benefit, Chelsea and Man City, to name two, have benefited from getting ahead of the curve, I suppose, in that sense. So given that we obviously have, for all Mike Ashley's poor management, he obviously ran us pretty well financially, and we're in quite a good position. But
did he really though?
Yeah, well, he got us.
We weren't in debt, but financially,
we didn't make any sponsorship. His sponsorship deals were non-existent.
We became a profitable club at least.
Yeah, no, we were profitable in that sense that we didn't go into debt. But I think financially, we could have been so much better. But going into the financial fair play aspect of it, I just don't think it's fair, because I think it says it's financial fair play, but it's not, because what you've done is you brought it in as a rule exactly in the position where you've kept those who've managed, like Man City, to get tons and tons of money into the club to stay there at the top because they've already got into that position there. Whereas you've got someone like, let's say us, for example, but you might have had other clubs. Aston Villa might have wanted to try that, with the ownership that they've got. Chelsea might want to try that with the owners that they get, but they may be restricted in that. Why should we be restricted in investment if that's what's needed to get us up to that level? It's one of those frustrating things, because it's not fair, because it's protecting those already at the top. Like, I'm not being funny. How can Barcelona be in tons and tons of debt but still keep on signing players? How can Real Madrid be in so much debt but still continue to sign players and want to be signing Mbappe?
Redo the Bernabeu as well.
Exactly, and it's those things. Now, I don't think financial fair play goes. So if we wanted to build a stadium or put money into the training thing, that doesn't go into the financial fair play aspect of it.
Yeah,
but if we wanted to overhaul the squad, why shouldn't we be allowed to do that? It's to an extent. I understand. It's not like we'll just pump 500 million in and we'll do that, because it's not. But I just think they say it's there to protect the club. It's not. It's to protect those clubs that are already at the top and prevent those that are trying to to get to that position. If we also look, the Premier League's then come in as soon as we did the takeover and said, well, actually, we don't want deals like what Man City and that have been doing, which is inflated their deals because of the links with the companies that are doing the deals to make it, to try and get themselves around like the financial fair play aspect of it. And then obviously we come in and the Premier League say, oh, no, hang on, we can't have that. Well, no. Let's have a level playing field. Let us do those deals and then stop it. So let everyone have the chance to do those sort of deals and get those inflated sort of deals, and then stop it, or retrospectively push it back and say, well, in that case, we're gonna do that. So you're gonna have to get deals for those sort of deals that you've done at the value that we think's fair, rather than the value that you've got them at.
But they're so flimsy. Those guidelines, that governance, is so flimsy. Look at Everton. Everton have spent hundreds and hundreds of millions. They must be in so much debt and so much past the FFP numbers that. But there's nothing happened to them. There's been no point deduction. There's been no fines. There's been nothing. It's been very much kind of swept under the carpet a little bit. In those deals that obviously were brought, that rule that was brought in by the Premier League after our takeover. I mean, that again. How fast they could move for that. It's so flimsy though. It's crazy because look, Man City, okay, they could bring in 100 million from Etihad, for example. All it says is all the ruling is that it has to be a fair market value, which is, Newcastle could easily argue and say, well, Saudi sponsoring our shirts is the same market value as Etihad sponsoring Man City shirts. So it's so nondescript and non-objective that actually I think it can easily be taken advantage of. And if we had a bit of nous about us, we could easily fob that system off, to be honest. But yeah, I agree, Mark. I
do like that comment. Yeah, it's so toothless that it feels like a fart in the wind.
Yeah,
it is.
Now, I'm not being. You look at it though. Man City just went and spent 100 million on Grealish last season. He's turned out to be shite for them. So then went out and spent another 60 million on. But no, if you look at his stats and assists, his assists are shocking.
Yeah,
but
assists matter on the other person converting them. So
I still think in terms of where Grealish has been and the sort of the player he is, he's been poor for them.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He hasn't. No, he hasn't been as good. He hasn't been as good.
Yeah, he's not been bad.
He's filled out. He's filled out. Guardiola.
I'm not being. But if you're paying 100, but if you're paying 100 million for him, I'd want him to be. Yeah,
in that team, he should be scoring, assisting.
Exactly.
He should be a superstar.
Yeah. But he will be next season. But he will be next season. Players who move to City usually take a season or so to get used to Guardiola's methods and things.
But this is my problem.
Next season he'll be absolutely unbelievable.
Right, but then it's like, we'll bring in Erling Haaland for another 60 million.
Yeah.
There's no sort of like stopping to that. Yeah, they can just pull that money out there because they're at that position. We're not at that position. So if we turn around and said we'll spend 60 million at the minute, all the reports, that's where budget's gone.
Yeah,
I know, and if we'd known, we probably should have went in for Haaland at 60 million because it's a bargain. In that
I think it's a lot more. I think, isn't it? In total or something ridiculous.
I think the wages and that'll be the ones in there. But then again, look, they're going to put him on 350 grand a week wages.
Yeah,
he's
level with De Bruyne.
I know, you look at that and you
top earner.
And I'm not being funny, but you also look at, like on Sunday, they couldn't even fill out the stadium. And this is
all the empty seats.
Yeah,
and the fans leaving when it was like 4-0.
Yeah, but if Newcastle were fighting for titles, like Man City, because there was an argument made by a Man City fan who didn't like the chant about empty seats and that, saying, "Well, what was it like under Steve Bruce?" Well, there's a big difference. Under Steve Bruce, we were fighting relegation. If Steve Bruce had us fighting for titles, I can guarantee you there would not have been one empty seat in St James's Park. And I can tell you another thing, people wouldn't have been leaving.
Yeah.
Because it's 4-0 up, you would have had the flags, so everyone would have been partying and jumping up and down. It's just those things. It's as if Man City's now become a brand.
Oh, it is,
And it's there
they're a global brand.
They're a brand, isn't it? That's what it is.
But for me, it just didn't feel like a football. Like the atmosphere was shocking. quite frankly, if it wasn't for the away fans, there wouldn't have been any real noise in the stadium in that sense. And it just felt,
I just remember that video of when they were the league, and then about 6 Man City fans turned up outside the stadium cheering.
Yeah, but no, but it is that, and it's as if for me, they've got to a position now where because they can spend as much money as they want, and they're winning trophies that the fans are just saying, yeah, right, yeah, we're going to win the Premier League again, yeah.
I mean, this could come back.
No. I think their game was that Real Madrid one because the Champions League's the one that they won. You know what I mean? That's the they won.
No,
and
they were quite bitter with that one.
Yeah, and then the way they lost it, then the way they lost it, like just. You know
there you go. If Newcastle match them well for City, how do we ensure we don't turn into what City is like with lack of atmosphere and leaving early?
And
we're not Man City.
It's a good
fans.
question. It's a really good question.
It is, yeah. And would you want that? Would you even want to go down that Man City model? Obviously, the success-wise, yes, and the players-wise, yes. But actually, everything else, the multiple City Group clubs that are all linked, like Melbourne and New York City and all them, the whole corporate experience and that kind of luxury We Are Man City vibe. Is that something that we want? Or
to be honest,
do we want all those,
No, but I think PIF will buy another club, though. At least another club.
Yeah,
PIF will probably buy at least another club.
The one thing which I will say, the stadium looks really, really good in terms of
it's a great stadium.
And the fan sort of like area that they've got. But the other thing, and I was saying to obviously the person who I went to the match with, I was going, what? They had like people on the pitch, in terms like just it was such a poor sort of like build up to a game. Like there was no like real music. Yeah, the flags that were waving were probably ones that the club had supplied, and they had people from the club waving the flags. And it was just like, it was nothing. It was like so boring. The one thing which I will praise them is they actually introduced the new under academy, so they brought them onto the side of the pitch and walked the pitch at half time. And I thought that's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, when you're joining the academy, you're going to get walked around the, let's say, St James's Park in the first game and get applauded by the Newcastle fan. I'm thinking it's a nice way to like welcome you into like the club. Yeah, we're going to put you in front of the
There's a future £100 million player. There's a future £100 million player.
This isn't the dig at Man City, but like, if
but
you
it
think
is.
about it, Newcastle's had, it kind of is. If you think of Newcastle's fan base now that have been going to St James's Park week in, week out for God knows how many years and will continue to do so. If you think of Man City, back up to like the early 2000s, they didn't even have the Etihad Stadium. They had like, how big was Main Road?
Main Road, like 35, 38.
You think if you've basically got those fans, transferred them over to this larger stadium, plus like 20,000 fans that have just started supporting them because they're massive, all of a sudden.
Tourists.
And that brings us on, I suppose, the final point as well. Like, so the final kind of question is, would you prefer a new stadium to be built, or would you prefer to improve St James's Park, given everything we've just talked about in terms of atmosphere, in terms of new support coming in, and all those sort of good things? What are you guys' thoughts?
I couldn't imagine us playing anywhere else other than St James's Park, to be brutally honest. Like, it is such an iconic stadium. It's in the middle of the city. You can see it from everywhere. I remember when I'm traveling in from Washington, on the top of Lobley Hill, it's the first thing you see. You know what I mean? Like you see, it's the first thing you see, and like, wow, there's not, obviously, like I live in London now, and there's nothing like that. Even there's loads of clubs, you can't see the stadium from miles around. It's not the center. They're not the center of the city. It's just our home, and the atmosphere there since the takeover has been absolutely incredible.
Well, you can see the Emirates from the train line.
Success.
Yeah.
What? Right, you can see the Emirates from the train line, but like St James's Park, you can see from literally everywhere. It dominates the city. Yeah. I couldn't imagine us playing anywhere else, as long as it can be actually improved upon. When the time comes, obviously we don't know how long that's going to take, but I would assume the demand already is going to be going through the roof as we're speaking now, and I'm sure even slightly successful season next year will send demand up once again. So for me, I can't see us playing anywhere else other than St James's Park, and I would absolutely, it's our cathedral on the hill, and it would be really tough to move and go somewhere else. Yeah. I just don't think it'd be the same. It's such a special stadium. It just needs a bit of love
What
and
about-
attention. And
Yeah, would you look to
the right
expand this?
team.
I know. Obviously,
I still don't agree.
Officially
I don't think we
can't,
can.
and that the strawberry. Well, thing is, the strawberry place
they
behind
have
it.
bought the Strawberry Place land, haven't they?
No, well, the people who own it have gone bust. The company who own it have gone bust, but it wasn't
Right,
part
okay.
of the administration piece. So
Yeah.
technically, it's probably up for sale, or it's probably available.
I think there's work. No, I think there's work going on
However,
that bit.
but would you want it? Even if we could, is my question. Because for me, yes, when we first got the stadium, which is like half and half, it was odd, very odd, and no other stadium looked like it. But now it's 20 years down the line, 23 years, 24 years down the line.
But it makes it unique.
And it's unique. It's ours. That's how it is. It's you see it everywhere. It's instantly recognizable.
It's like you can see the floodlights from like Howden and that, and that's where
you can see them from everywhere.
You can hear the noise from like because of obviously the fact that it's open, and I think that's probably the big thing because the two tiers are open. You can hear like the roars. You can be walking down Northumberland Street, and you'll hear the roar of Newcastle fans, and you'll go, "Oh, they've scored."
I've heard it from Gateshead before, and you know what I mean. Like it's literally travels that far.
Yeah.
The noise from St James's Park. It's just
exactly.
That's spot on. That comment. We don't realize how good we have it with St James's Park.
Yeah,
exactly.
Been to the Etihad before the money, and it's really not as good as you think. Soulless and clinical.
Yeah,
Etihad that is not. Yeah, there.
Yeah. No,
the
Emirates feels like that as well, doesn't it? Like the Emirates is a nice stadium, but it's not.
Yeah,
it hasn't got anything to it.
When the London Stadium, when it played West Ham away, obviously a couple of months ago, it was the worst stadium I've ever been to. That
is not
so sanitized.
You're about 3 miles from the pitch, though.
Yeah,
and you are about.
It's a 3 mile walk from the Leavers tube station as well.
To be fair,
horrendous.
It is just in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? It is literally just
it's next to a shopping centre.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Which on one side, at least you've got loads of nice places to go and eat rather than like the thing is though. But would you not like prefer us to maybe like try and do something like Spurs have done? Not necessarily the stadium, but maybe trying to move like St James's to like maybe into Leazes Park, and then give us the space to maybe extend the east. Could that not?
I wouldn't.
Leazes Park.
I personally,
move it up, and then that gives you the space.
I personally stay because we've filled the stadium pretty much before the takeover. It means that people who are in the stadium who have season tickets or have tickets at the moment or have loyalty points or accounts or whatever, they're going to be first choice. So we're not going to get the tourists. The fact that actually we are. I think it's 260 bars within a quarter-mile radius or something ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
I mean, one thing that do need to upgrade is the beer inside St James's because my goodness, it is dreadful. But I can't imagine.
You still drink it though?
I don't. I drink the bottles because the taps are awful.
No, I still like I said the big things that need to change at the minute is probably just doing the minimal improvements. So like. If we look at it, they're cleaning the statue of Sir Bobby Robson. Yeah. When did that happen? You then look at the fact of the moving Shearer statue onto the club land. They put Shearer's bar back.
They cleaned the window. They cleaned it.
Yeah, I know. They cleaned it. But I still think that there are things that they probably could do. The PA system, I think, needs a no more because if you're in the Gallagher stand, it's nigh impossible to understand what's being said on the PA system. So I think that needs done.
Could do with another screen so that half the stadium can actually see.
Do you know what? I'd love
screen.
I'd love
magnifying glass.
No, I'd love to
because it's impossible to see it if you sat in the east stand and.
See, I'd love to do like a light show. Do you know, like not to the levels of like what you see but you imagine having the ability to do the light show in cooperation with war flags. So like really bringing it into something.
You might as well have clappers and fire breathers and bubbles.
And then you.
No, but you imagine like if the whole ground goes dark and then you just got like focus on like the Gallagher and the flag starts going up or something like that. There's just something in there where I don't know. but like I said, for me, I think the PA system needs upgrading. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
So it's becoming like a full-on experience of monitors in front of every single vibrating.
I was going to say, no, bigger TVs in the
concourse.
in the concourses.
Oh yes, hilarious! They're hilarious. Small
the one thing which I will praise the Etihad for, their 4G.
It's just no one in the stadium. That's why.
Well, no, there was still a vast amount in the stadium, but yeah, to still be able to connect, and even like around before the match, and that you're like, but the fact is, they've probably paid the networks to put masts.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. Little tip for you in St James's, okay? And here you go, viewers.
Like
little tip for you.
Now he's telling the viewers his little trick. Now.
Change your settings. Change your settings to 3G only rather than 4G or 5G, because no one else connects to those networks, and you'll get on and it'll be absolutely fine, and you'll get.
Apart from now, everyone. Apart from you've just told everyone on
these viewers
watching this.
There you go. Little tip for you.
Or we could just try and get Wi-Fi. But then everyone will connect.
Yeah.
Well,
no connect, and then you won't get any Wi-Fi.
Everyone connect to Wi-Fi, and then I'll connect off Wi-Fi, and then I'll get you 4G. To be fair, though, you don't. I don't tend to want to look at my phone once the game starts.
Yeah, but just like it's nice to be able to get a text if your friends somewhere else and you want to meet them.
Yeah, like if you
half time. Yeah.
If you want to check the other half-time scores at half-time, and instead he just sat spinning. Slowly loading.
They announced them. They announced the scores.
Yeah.
But my fantasy football team,
all the Premier League ones, and then you get Sunderland's.
Well, no, but even like after after the game, like once the game's finished and you're going down there and you're trying to find out where we're meeting after, where we're going for the drinks. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's not
you've got to sort it out. You've got to sort it out before you get there. You've got to be like, right, I'll meet you here after the game. Don't know how long it'll be, but I'll meet you here after the game.
And I still think, why can we not get Greg's being our sort of like pasty supplier for next year?
That would be outstanding. The pies, they've changed supplier. Like the Magpie and the chicken balties now, they've changed. Everyone knew that.
We'll just get Greg's in.
Get them back. Yeah.
Have a
so everyone's saying stay, yeah? No one's going for a new stadium.
No.
I think it's too early at this point. Yeah. It's a vast expenditure. When at the minute, what we need to improve, firstly, is the first team squad. Secondly, is the training facilities. Thankfully, obviously, when you look at what they've been looking at with regards to the training ground, it looks. Yeah, I know it might not look when you look at the picture, but when you actually look at the blueprint of where things are now and where things are going to be, it's a massive change, and you're going.
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be only temp as well, isn't it? It's supposed to be like this is only a temp measure for a few years whilst they scout out a bigger complex.
But might they then turn around and say, right, that's the complex that's going to be for the women's team? Like the women's team will be based at Benton, and
like academy,
they'll probably keep it, wouldn't they? I don't know. If they've improved, if they're going to improve it, I don't know why they wouldn't keep it. So
but
if the amount of money they got, that's probably.
Well,
the fact is,
the amount of money. Yeah,
they could sell it to someone else. Yeah. Sunderland might want like a different training ground. Yeah, the players live in Newcastle, so they might as well come and train in Newcastle. Yeah,
it's true.
You are right.
But there is that. But I'd love to see us do a training facility like the Man City aspect, where everything's in that one campus, and that I just think it works. It'd probably be more cohesive in that sense, rather than as you do now. You've got to go to like from the training ground round like so you've got to like drive round practically to the academy, where if everything's under one roof, so you've got the academy, you've got the women's team, you've got the first team, you've got, let's say, the recruitment side of things all based in offices there, even like maybe like not necessarily a hotel, but like a sleeping accommodation, because a manager might decide that he wants the players to stay overnight for a certain game, so that the focus
in Jessamine Dean or whatever.
Like those sort of things and that to do that, or if you've got like academy, so those sort of things. I just think, something like that is the
Man City. Man City have that what's it called? It's where it's held at Wembley and the Etihad, or the complex at least.
UCFB.
Like I don't know,
UCFB.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
The badges, coaching badges, or business, football business.
Yeah, it's like a sport. It's
degrees
like
and
sports
stuff.
media university.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that sort of stuff would be great. What I'd also love to see at the training ground, just whilst we're on the subject, open days. I mean, when I was a kid, when I used to have them in Durham and Chester Street, because that's where I grew up, like that'd be, they were awesome.
I think
going
it-
and
I
seeing
think
the
it would-
players and all that sort of stuff. That'd be fantastic to do.
But it's
And it's
quite
such a good way to engage the fans.
Yeah, well, I know, but I'm not being funny. But look who turns up at the training ground anyway. Do you really want those getting even closer to the players?
Okay, you
Probably
have an age limit.
Well, no, but
know?
why not do what they do like the
It
open
goes
days
up
at the
every year.
No, do your training days at the stadium, like what they used to do. Have Eddie Howe mic'd up, so you can hear what he's saying in that sense. Something like that would be. I can't remember, but I'm sure a manager did that once before on an open day, and I'm trying to remember who it was. And I'm thinking, was it Steve McLaren or was it like someone like Rafa? I don't know. That's everything Rafa did. Might have been Steve McLaren, which is why everyone probably got bored and fell asleep during that. But you imagine like Eddie Howe at an open day training session at St James's Park, you'd probably get a canny crowd. You'd probably get
100%.
30,000 turning up.
Probably.
Because it's a training session, but like to be able to hear him and going, this is why we're doing this is why we're doing that.
Yeah, true. We got to see. Right, well, we'll leave it there. So thanks for all the comments and the discussion, lads. It was an interesting one. If you're watching this, obviously, make sure that you are subscribing, you're liking, you're sharing, you're commenting, and we'll see you back here again, same time next week for more chat around NUFC. Thank you all very much.